Okay, good afternoon and welcome to the Education Subcommittee. Today we will be focusing on higher education, and we have three speakers. Um, and our first speaker just walked back into the room. Chancellor Duray from the Virginia Community College System. Thank you so very much. After he speaks, we're going to learn more about the status of internships for college students in Virginia, including presentations from Emily Webb, Vice President for Education and Workforce Development with the Virginia Chamber of Commerce. And following Emily, we will have Alicia Bazemore, Assistant Director for Innovative Work-Based Learning Initiatives with the State Council of Higher Education for Virginia. Chancellor, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee. It is an honor to be here to give a brief update on the Virginia Community College system. And what I'll do is just give a brief overview, some updates, and then our strategic priorities moving forward. As you may know, we are the state's largest institution of higher education. Last year, we enrolled 230,000 students in both traditional college degree programs and short-term workforce credential programs. And that was an increase of 4.3% over the previous year. And one of the exciting things about that is that's the first time that we saw an enrollment increase in many, many years. And we're on that same path this year. Moving forward for the fall, we had about a 3.5% increase in full-time equivalent student enrollment in the system. Now, as you know, we serve every region of the Commonwealth, and we have 23 colleges. And as I said, we're about 46% of the undergraduate population. And I think some important things to note is that 89% of the students that we serve are asset limited, income constrained employed. And these are students that don't necessarily meet the federal poverty level, but really are living paycheck to paycheck. And so I think the system really is the source of economic mobility for some of the most disadvantaged Virginians. Some other positive things that I've seen in the system is we have seen increased graduation rates across our colleges. About 5 years ago, we were at the national average in graduation rates, and now we are far above the national average in graduation rates. Also, we've seen increase in transfer rates, which is a really positive. The other important thing is we saw a decrease in student debt over the last 5 years. From $138 million in 2017, we got that number down to about $56 million. That's a 59% decrease in student debt over the time. And also, we're very proud that about 46% of our students are minority students, and we're seeing, again, improved completion rates among those underserved students as well. So now I'd like to give just some updates in terms of the governor's budget. So there were two items of note that were in the governor's biennium budget. One was $3.9 million ongoing funding for regional career placement centers, and those would be for 24 positions, program support and outreach, and we're doing that regionally, so 9 regionally focused career placement offices, and then also additional dollars, $9.2 million over the biennium to support our Fast Forward program. Now, in terms of the Fast Forward program, we're really proud of that. There's been a cumulative investment of about $85.5 million since that program started in 2016. And since that time, we've seen almost close to 54,000 credentials that are earned. We have a 95% completion rate for those certificates, and the average increases in median annual wages for those Fast Forward completers is $12,000. So really, really proud of that program. Additionally, wanted to give you an update on the G3 program. The G3 program, I think you're familiar, is a last dollar assistance program for students pursuing applied associate degrees in high demand fields. And these funds are for students who qualify for in-state tuition and who have a household income that is less than or equal to the 400% of the federal poverty rate. And G3 focuses on degrees in these high-demand fields, information technology, healthcare, public safety, skilled trades, and early childhood. And again, these are the last dollar, means that the students fill out a FAFSA, and they apply for federal and state aid, and then that last dollar is applied to the students in terms of supporting them in the G3 program. Last year, there were just under 9,000 students in the credit program that were served by G3, and another 4,000 that were served by G3 in the Fast Forward program as well. And so that's an update on G3. Now, in terms of the strategic priorities of the system moving forward, we're really focused on expanding Virginia's workforce talent pipeline. We believe that the community college system really is the answer to really addressing the talent challenges. We want to build state-of-the-art career and technical programs and labs. We're really altering who we recruit. I'll talk a little bit about that in terms of serving many more adult learners in our community colleges as well. And then being much more flexible in our delivery and focusing on completion and then job placement for our learners. Want to emphasize to the committee that over 81% of our students stay and remain in Virginia, which means that that's a really good investment because our students come from Virginia and they have a tendency to stay in Virginia. And so we're really pleased that when a student completes at a Virginia community college, they're far more likely to stay in the workplace for a long time in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Now, in terms of strategy moving forward, so we graduate in the Commonwealth about 90,000 students every year. And because of the birth dearth, we know that this population is going to begin to decline. And the Virginia community colleges have consistently been getting about 22% of those students. So we know that in order to really serve more learners, we're going to have to look outside of that population. And so we're really focused on two areas. One is how do we get students into the pipeline earlier through dual enrollment and concurrent enrollment, but also how do we serve these adult learners who are in need of credentials. We have 2 million Virginians who only have a high school diploma. We have another 1.2 million Virginians that have some college but do not have a college degree or credential. And so we are laser focused on this population. This population is made up of parents, a lot of veterans, and all kinds of folks in this population. Just to give you an image, this is 35 times the number of annual high school graduates in Virginia. So this is a population that we're really focused on serving moving forward. In terms of looking at our funding, we are about 57 cents on the dollar for every dollar that goes to a full-time equivalent student at a Virginia public university. And actually, if you look at these updated dollars, that number's looking more like 55 cents on the dollar. Also, wanted to focus on what some of our peers are investing. They're really investing big in community colleges, and just have some examples up there. Texas just did an overhaul, big investment, $2.2 billion over the next 2 years. North Carolina, Tennessee just passed a bill. The governor signed $1 billion across Tennessee's college and applied technology campuses. Cardinal News stated that nationally, states spend more on community college students than four-year students. Virginia does not. And this is essentially an overview of our, this was submitted to, we submitted a 6-year plan to the OP6 in July. This plan has been fully endorsed. The Virginia Chamber is going to speak, and they fully endorsed our plan in terms of really increasing the talent pipeline. And what we did is we used VOE data, and all of our colleges worked collaboratively across each of the regions. And I think we have a very concrete plan to really expand the talent pipeline in the most high demand sectors of the Commonwealth using that data. And those areas are healthcare, skilled trades, manufacturing, information technology, transportation, and energy. And one that is common of all of the regions is healthcare, where we have tremendous shortages and talent needs. These are some of the projected results of our plan. We want to put 20,000 additional skilled workers across these really critical industries by 2031. Now, one of the challenges for us is these are in some of the most expensive areas for us to upskill. As you know, healthcare, for example, very, very expensive. So these are in some of the programs that really are the highest cost for us. And in keeping tuition down, many of these programs are actually, we're not getting as much revenue from tuition and from the Commonwealth to really run these programs. So that's kind of an overview a really quick overview of the Virginia Community Colleges. And now I want to introduce Xavier Beal from HII Newport News Shipbuilding, who's one of our many industry partners, who's going to kind of talk about some of the needs from an industry perspective.
Thank you, Chancellor Doré. Good afternoon, Chairwoman Locke, members of the Education Subcommittee and committee staff. I'm Xavier Beal, and I serve as Newport News Shipbuilding's Vice President of Human Resources. I have the awesome responsibility for providing and preparing a capable workforce to meet the Navy's needs. I take this role seriously, and I approach it with the perspective of someone who served as a pipe fitter, earned a degree from our community college system, and worked with the youth from underserved populations, both professionally as a counselor and personally as a volunteer. Every day I'm thinking of one number, 19,000. This is the number of highly skilled workers the shipyard needs to hire by 2034, and is a percentage of the roughly 34,000 workers that we need to hire in Hampton Roads within the next decade. Hiring 34,000 workers is a challenge that requires support at all levels, including K through 12 schools, community colleges, the General Assembly, and the federal government. This is truly a significant challenge, but it's also an opportunity. If we succeed, we can offer tens of thousands of people high-paying jobs, good benefits, opportunities for advancement, and the opportunity to create generational wealth. As you can imagine, no one arrives to the shipyard with a degree in shipbuilding. So we spend about $100 million annually to train our workforce. While we can upskill that workforce with no craft experience, hiring people from community training programs helps us get there faster, and we need to get there faster to support our Navy, which is why we support the community college system, and I'm proud to support the priorities that Dr. Doré mentioned earlier. And I'm glad our community college system's priorities include increased training capacity and funding for instructors. These efforts will strengthen our region's workforce, and they complement actions taken by the Navy and this committee. The Navy is investing millions of dollars to expand the Hampton Roads Regional Training Center, and thanks to your previous support, 228 underserved individuals were trained in just 6 months through Hampton Roads Workforce Council's new HR Strong pipeline. In addition to these developments, I want to highlight two priorities Newport News Shipbuilding is working on this session. First, Senator Aird introduced a resolution for the State Workforce Board to study how community colleges should fund non-credit workforce credentials. Over time, the Virginia Community College system has evolved into the #1 provider of non-credit workforce credentials in the state, but those funds are not keeping up with pace. Today, non-credit credentials must be entirely self-sustaining. So what does that mean? That means that the student covers the entire cost of the class. This often results in instructors seeing less compensation than they would earn in industry, and classes getting canceled if they don't reach the minimum enrollment. Classes canceled leave thousands of trainee seats vacant every year. And think back to that number I mentioned earlier, 19,000. These seats are seats that we need to fill. If every class was held in 2023 at capacity, Newport News Shipbuilding could have hired 170% more of its 2023 new hires from community college workforce programs. The funding formula in this is the primary challenge to offering non-credit courses. Therefore, we recommend bringing together stakeholders from the General Assembly, the administration, organized labor, and industry to examine options and develop a solution, because the demand on our community challenges to build a skilled workforce is one that we cannot delay. Second, we are seeking support for the Secretary of Labor to convene stakeholders in Hampton Roads to explore the development, funding, and operation of Regional Trades Training Center of Excellence. A Trades Training Center of Excellence is something that we need in the region. We appreciate your support on this, Madam Chairman, for this effort. This center would be a game changer. It would provide labs, classrooms, state-of-the-art equipment that these students would actually experience when they're in the workforce. With insufficient training capacity in our region, many schools are looking to develop their own training centers. Instead of funding the same facility every 30 miles, it would be more efficient and less expensive to build a single center to serve multiple training providers and multiple employers. These are ambitious goals, and their impact would be extraordinary. Our communities and our nation rely on us to ensure workers are skilled and ready to build the Navy's fleet. Secretary of the Navy, Carlos Del Toro, said recently that America's position as the world's leading shipbuilder has dissipated over time, over the past 4 decades. This should be alarming to each and every one of us. He also noted that as a nation, we have exposed ourselves to vulnerabilities in shipbuilding, sea lift, and economic trade. As members of this committee, you already know this. With the breadth of your backgrounds and your knowledge of Newport News shipbuilding, the maritime industry, and higher education, like the Navy, you recognize the need to invest in the future workforce. We recognize that these investments the state have made to date, and we're appreciative of those. And we are appreciative of you considering the innovative approaches proposed by the community college system and Newport News shipbuilding. So let's work together to create a brighter tomorrow for thousands of Virginians. Thank you.
Mr. Beal, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I know about the 19,000 folks that you guys need to employ. What kind of time frame are you looking at in terms of trying to hire 19,000 people?
So I'll give you near term, right? So when we're looking at 19,000, that's to get us to roughly 2034. But over the past 3 years, we've hired over 3,000 skilled craft persons. This year, we're challenged to hire another 3,100, 3,000 in 2025, 4,000 in 2026, about 4,500 in 2027, and the numbers go on. We've hired over 14,000 since 2018. The challenge, though, Madam Chair, is not just hiring them, it's keeping them. We're treating about 30% of our craft workforce annually. That's not sustainable. But what we do recognize is that when individuals are coming to our company from a community training partner like the community college systems, that we have better retention, their time to proficiency is better, and they're adding value much sooner to support our Navy's demand.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Senator Hashmi has a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And this is for our Chancellor. Thank you for a wonderful presentation. You really highlight how very effective our community colleges are, and so thank you for that. I'm particularly impressed by the outcomes of the G3 program, that we have 75% of G3 re-enrolling for the following year or graduating. That's a very high completion rate. And knowing that this is an investment that's actually returning to the Commonwealth in terms of more people in the workforce, well-trained and skilled folks, what can we do to strengthen G3 and to make it even better than it is right now?
I think, Senator, that number one, I want to just give kudos and thanks to all of you for the support of G3. I think we're looking at, perhaps how do we provide even more access to G3? One of the things that I find really valuable is the number of fast forward students that are also accessing G3. I think what would be really helpful for us is the ability to really get the word out more. I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges about so many of the programs that we offer, is we just got to get that word out in terms of marketing better. So I think continuing to support G3 dollars, I think, would be really, really valuable to us. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. We'll now hear from Emily Webb, Vice President for Education and Workforce Development with the Virginia Chamber of Commerce.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. I'm Emily Webb, and I have the pleasure of serving as Vice President of Education and Workforce Development at the Virginia Chamber of Commerce. I'm pleased to be with you this afternoon to share why the Virginia business community believes internships and work-based learning opportunities like apprenticeships and job shadowing are so critically important to building talent pipelines into the Commonwealth's economic future. I'll also share information about the Chamber's role in the Virginia Talent and Opportunity Partnership and how we're working to engage more businesses in this initiative. Many of you are likely familiar with the Chamber's strategic plan for the Commonwealth, Blueprint Virginia. In drafting the latest version of Blueprint Virginia 2030, the Chamber engaged over 7,000 Virginians and collaborated with over 100 economic development and business organizations to develop a wide array of recommendations and policy proposals. Through the Blueprint process, business leaders across the Commonwealth told us that their number one concern in every region of the state was access to the necessary talent. You've probably heard our president and CEO, Barry Duvall, say that in order to be the best state for business, we must also be the best state for talent. When employers struggle to find and hire talent, they are less productive, hurting their bottom line and the Commonwealth's overall potential for growth. The Education and Workforce section of Blueprint 2030 outlines recommendations in childcare, K-12, and post-secondary education, talent attraction and retention, and I've pulled out a few of those recommendations specifically related to internships and work-based learning. Every day, the Chamber works closely with business leaders to better understand their daily challenges, including their workforce challenges. Recruitment and retention, as you just heard, of quality talent remains at top of their list, and they see the immense value that internships and work-based learning play in developing those talent pipelines. This fall, the Virginia Business Higher Education Council released polling data related to building talent pathways and internships. Their polling data shows the significant support from Virginians for strategic investments in internships. Specifically, there was strong bipartisan support for campus internship centers, matching grants for small businesses to create internship opportunities, the development of an online portal for internships, and financial aid for students to participate in off-campus internships. Across the board, both Republicans and Democrats support these strategic investments. So why are internships and work-based learning so important to the business community? Beyond the value of internships for students, they are a powerful advantage for employers. With a high-quality internship program, employers can engage talent early, build a skilled and knowledgeable pipeline, boost their brand, and streamline hiring strategies. Many employers cite internship experience as a top recruiting strategy and often view it as the most influential factor in hiring decisions. Internships often serve a transitionary period, and they help develop durable professional skills like showing up on time and communicating well with colleagues, skills that many employers note are hard to find in today's workforce shortages. For employers, it's important to offer internships to foster the next generation of industry leaders, and that's why a national survey from Northeastern University found that 97% of business leaders support the expansion of work-based learning opportunities. It is important to note that the Chamber advocates for and encourages employers to offer paid internships, as underrepresented groups often cannot afford to take an unpaid internship. Offering paid internships gives students a chance to capitalize on a valuable career opportunity while getting the resources they need to support themselves. According to the Strata Education Foundation, paid internships lead to more job offers and garner higher starting salaries. The National Association of Colleges and Employers reports that the median starting salary for a paid intern is $20,000 more than unpaid interns. The Virginia Business Higher Education Council found that Virginians strongly support giving all college students access to paid internship opportunities. The value of internships is helping to pay for college and preparing students for career success resonates very strongly with voters across the board. see if I can I'm skipping through one slide. There we go. No, we're short on time today. I'd now like to shift gears to share more information about our VTOP partnership with SHEV and the Virginia Business Higher Education Council. SHEV and the Virginia Chamber Foundation began its VTOP partnership in 2020 following the creation of the Innovative Internship Program and Fund that you all passed in 2019. The Chamber Foundation is in its third year supporting VTOP, and our current contract focuses on building employer awareness and engagement, best practices research, and support for strategic communications. To help employers in developing quality internship experiences, we have created the Virginia Employer Readiness Toolkit and a video series. These resources are designed to help employers learn more about the benefits of an internship and current best practices. The toolkit was initially created in 2020 through our foundation's Work-Based Learning Task Force, with the hope to foster greater connectivity between students and parents, employers, and higher education institutions. I will note that the toolkit is currently under review, and we plan to release a revised version later this year. Additionally, this fall, we developed and released a video series to help employers and students interested in internships, and both of these resources are available on the VTOP website. We also promote VTOP and the importance of paid internships to our 29,000 plus members through our signature events, our industry council executive committees, and a newsletter series called the Workforce Wire. Additionally, we collaborate with local chambers by hosting information sessions for small business members to build awareness of the staffing agency services and matching funds program. We believe that the staffing agency services and matching funds program are critical to the success and expansion of VTOP, especially for our small business owners. Finally, we help SHEV promote and celebrate Virginia's top employers for interns through Virginia Intern Day, and these employers serve as exemplars in work-based learning. To cultivate more business engagement and expand internship opportunities, we recommend that you continue to provide matching funds for small businesses and provide flexibility in using the staffing agency services. We also recommend new funding for a coordinated marketing campaign to attract and retain talent and promote internships, apprenticeships, and other work-based learning. We know it's important to not only attract new talent to the Commonwealth, but also to keep the immense talent that we have here already. Another recommendation would be to provide financial incentives to businesses to hire interns for full-time employment. Currently, businesses who utilize the staffing agency services are required to pay a fee if they hire their interns full-time. Providing such an incentive would help small businesses offset these costs. Outside of internships, it's important for the Virginia's business community to support other work-based learning opportunities, especially for our K-12 students, as well as individuals participating in credentialing programs at the community college system, and adults looking to upskill and reskill. In the coming year, we recommend that you consider the creation of a parallel initiative to promote apprenticeships and other work-based learning opportunities across Virginia's education workforce system. Additionally, we ask that you continue to invest in our community college system to expand non-credit workforce training programs for high-demand industry sectors. Obviously, Dr. DeRay gave a great promotion about their success. The Chamber fully supports Dr. DeRay's vision for the community college system to increase the supply of skilled workers and to meet the demands of business and industry. I'd like to thank this committee for an opportunity to present today. Please know that the Chamber is a partner in strengthening Virginia's education workforce system to supply the Commonwealth's workforce needs of the future. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Emily. Are there any questions? No? Okay, thank you very much. We will now move to SHEV and presentation on the innovative work-based learning initiatives.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Alicia Bazemore, and I serve as the Assistant Director of Innovative Work-Based Learning Initiatives at the State Council of Higher Education for Virginia. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the Virginia Talent Opportunity Partnership and a bit about the importance of internships. There are 3 reasons why we believe that internships are important. The first reason I'll talk about from the employer and student perspective. One, it provides a learn and earn opportunity that will provide pathways for students and employers to learn about each other before they enter into some level of entry-level opportunities. The second is because it provides an opportunity to connect students with practical, hands-on experience, and they're able to take what they've learned in the classroom and apply it in the workplace. And lastly, it provides an opportunity for Virginia institutions to connect with many of Virginia employers, and so that they can provide a robust opportunity for students and transition students into employment opportunities. Overall, we feel that it is a win for students, institutions, and employers, and overall a win for Virginia. Now, how does Virginia support the internships? As mentioned before, I know Emily talked a little bit about the process or the development of the Virginia Talent Opportunity Partnership. In 2018, the General Assembly appropriated funding to SHEV to encourage public institutions to develop partnerships with institutions to produce innovative paid internship opportunities for students. A year later, it was expanded and enacted into statute, what we call the Innovative Internship Fund and Program. And in 2020, we rebranded and actually partnered with the Virginia Chamber Foundation, and now what you know as the Virginia Talent Opportunity Partnership. And then lastly, in 2023, we partnered and expanded that partnership with the Virginia Business Higher Education Council. One of the goals of the Virginia Talent Opportunity Partnership, VTOP in short, is that we want to ensure, and I think what we're doing is something very unique that no other state is doing, is that we're facilitating the readiness of students, employers, and institutions of higher ed. Most states may be facilitating the readiness of either employers or students, but we're actually doing a holistic approach where we are actually facilitating the readiness of all 3 stakeholders. Our ultimate goal is that every graduate in Virginia in a 2-year and 4-year institution will participate in at least one paid or credit-bearing student internship or work-based learning opportunity. VTOP is leading the way on statewide internship efforts through 8 unique features. One, as mentioned, involving student institutions and employers. We have commitments or statewide commitments from all of our public colleges and universities presidents. We also have provided building a system-building regional approach. We understand that we cannot do this work alone from the state level, and so we want to ensure that we are able to build capacity, and how we build that capacity is facilitating a lot of the resources from a regional perspective. As mentioned, we offer a statewide staffing agency, and just to note, this staffing agency is very unique. There's no other state that's facilitating a statewide staffing agency, and what we're doing is we're solving a problem. We're helping to support small businesses, and we're also helping to expand credit-bearing and internship opportunities for students. In addition to the small businesses, we're also,
Madam Chair, that statewide staffing agency, is that run by SHEV?
We're procured a staffing agency, so they're contracted through SHEV.
It's a contract entity?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we've partnered, thank you for your question. We partnered with the statewide staffing agency, and they are helping to facilitate or helping to bring on board students for many of the small businesses. In addition to that, we wanted to close the gap for some of the small businesses by providing incentives or matching funds for student wage. Again, we want to emphasize the importance of paid internship opportunities because it also closed the gap for access for students. In addition, we have offered transformation grants to federal work-study. Again, this provides an opportunity for access, and we want institutions to reimagine what a federal work-study job or opportunity would be. And we want to encourage students or encourage institutions to actually transform their federal work-studies to be more internship-like. Also, we will be monitoring and continue to monitor the outcomes of SB 1280, in which this is the bill that will promote or implement internships into students' degree program without extending their degree completion. In addition, we have collaborated with a number of leading businesses and higher education organizations across the state. Now to talk a little bit briefly, I know Emily touched on some of the points before, but to talk a little bit briefly about our readiness for our student focus, we offer free online learning modules, and these modules help support with career readiness skills, some of the skills such as teamwork, collaboration, critical thinking, and so forth. And we also offer a student internship toolkit where it provides an opportunity for students to learn how to apply and engage with employers and apply for internship opportunities. Our marketing has been internal. So since 2022, we've had about 1,000 users to use both of our career readiness modules and toolkit. We've done something very unique we partnered with the Department of Human Resources Management to pilot a Commonwealth of Virginia covert internship connection. We know employment and public service is very important for the state, and so we've partnered with them to host sessions on developing students on professional development and also encouraging state agencies to hire and recruit students for internships. We secured proclamation by the governor 2 years in a row to serve as what we know as Virginia Intern Day, which is actually the 4th Thursday in July, and we will hope to continue that initiative of recognizing many employers across the state that host robust internship programs, as well as recognize students who participate in internships. For our employer readiness, we took a regional approach. Again, we know we are unable to do much of this work from the state level. We believe that it's important to engage it from a statewide perspective. So we modeled the Go Virginia region to help build capacity and to ensure that we're deploying resources, and those resources are customized and supported from the regional level for both institutions and students and employers. We talked about the statewide staffing agency service where it eliminates intern hiring barriers. And for small businesses, we recognize them as 250 or fewer. We have 30 plus employers that we've engaged since August. We will continue to ramp that up. And again, from the regional perspective, they are working with many of the small businesses to engage them in this opportunity. To date, we have 12 students that are placed in the internships, and I know that in 2024, we plan to increase that number. Also, with the allocation of the matching funds with the small businesses, these funds are to support or offset wage and also support any subsidies if employers want to provide assistance to students for housing, any type of clothing allowance or food allowance. They will also offer that, and we will match that as well. Now, one of the best practices for internship is we have a collaboration with Mentor Virginia, is that we are offering statewide mentorship training for employers and supervisors and students. We believe this is a great way to engage students and to help retain talent here in Virginia. And we mentioned the Virginia Intern Day. In 2022 was our first annual Virginia Intern Day, where we engaged about 30 employers, or a little over 30 employers. But last year we engaged or recognized 100 top employers who hosted internships across the state. We hope to scale that number even more. We anticipate doubling that number. Now, institutional readiness, we have offered grants to many of our 2-year and 4-year institutions. One of those grants were our Vision grants. We provided 9 Vision grants, and this grant is a presidential level task force where institutions can develop a plan to talk about what work-based learning will look like and to build a community and conversation about work-based learning on their campus. We talked about the transformation of expanding our federal work study program to help provide access to students and reimagine how that federal work study opportunity will look like, more like an internship. We've done something very new. Just last year, we have put out a proposal for student support grants and institutional data collection grants. The student support grant provides an opportunity to close the gap and focuses on providing support to students who want to participate in an internship, who may not have an opportunity to participate. The data collection grant provides an opportunity for for institutions to incentivize students who participate in some level of internship, and also for them to encourage them to report their participation. It also provides institutions an opportunity to acquire some level of platform to collect this information and data as well. We offer professional development and career practitioner internship funds to help support with best practices and learning more about work-based learning initiatives and internships. And we've also partnered and actually offered work ethic curriculums to 3 community colleges with the Mike Rowe, you may have heard, the Dirty Jobs, work ethic certification training program. And lastly, we completed the work of the Council of Presidents Work Group of Data Governance, where this group were able to help draft definitions for internships and work-based learning. Also, they were able to outline how we can properly tag credit-bearing internships, and also they were able to help support with providing some baseline data on credit-bearing internships.
Dr. Bazemore, could I just ask a quick question here? I'm really interested in the 3rd bullet point, institutional readiness for student support. Does that, a lot of times we focus on evaluating whether students are ready for our institutions, but if I'm understanding this is really an assessment of institutional readiness to support the students. Is that correct?
So we're offering, we have discovered that institutions may have gaps in terms of connecting and collaborating and supporting students in participating in internship opportunities. So, which is why we wanted to make sure that we focus on closing those gaps, because we've heard what they've said. So, for example, for the student support grant, many of the institutions may not have funding to help support a student to participate in an unpaid internship opportunity. So these funds will help them be able to offset that opportunity where a student could possibly still participate in the internship, but they can provide them with some level of a stipend. Again, many of the resources that we offer is a result of some of the gaps that we've heard and learned. And so really our role is to remove those barriers so that we can help support institutions, students, and employers overall to make those connections.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question. And finally, the state level milestones, I just want to talk briefly. Overall, we were able to collect some baseline data from 2020 through 2022. On average, we had about 20,000 students that are participating in credit-bearing internships. We know that that's just a subset of numbers. We know many students may have participated in some level of 0 credit or non-credit internships. So we are working to try to identify those students and how we can capture that information. We're hoping to build capacity, and we actually built a little bit of a capacity where we were able to hire 2 new staff. We only had 2 full-time staff working on this effort, and we know that this effort is a major initiative, and we wanted to do it and do it well, and so we increased our staffing level. We also increased our state and national awareness. We've presented in over 35 conferences and workshops, not only in Virginia, but nationally. We have learned that Virginia is leading the way in terms of what we're doing. We're having meaningful conversations across the state, and we have a collective body of individuals that are deeply invested in this initiative. Just to recap a little bit about the regional approach, again, we used the Go Virginia model, and we didn't reinvent the wheel. We just continued to operate in that same space where we made the connections with students, employers, and institutions within the region. And we're providing activities to help support some of the employers and institutions. We provided employer information sessions and webinars to support employers on how they can engage with students and institutions. We've also facilitated regional events, large-scale events that collaborate or connect employers and students together so that they can yield some level of opportunities for internships. And our major expenditures involve our employer readiness regarding our small businesses and grants to our small businesses. institutional readiness, where we offer grants of over $1 million this past year to create and expand internship opportunities, and our student readiness modules to help support and educate students on how they can build skills around what employers are looking for and how they can apply for opportunities. Just to touch on a little bit of our next steps, I want to touch on addressing our data collection needs and legislative outcomes. We are currently in the phase of compiling and completing the credit-bearing internship report for 23, fiscal year 23, or academic year 23. We will continue to partner and complete the annual progress report with the Virginia Department of Workforce Development and Advancement. And as mentioned, we are working to identify a survey to capture internship outcomes for students that are not only completing a credit-bearing internship, but internships that are non-credit or zero credit. And overall, we hope to increase our engagement in the following areas. We would like to increase our engagement of 125 students utilizing the statewide staffing agency service. As mentioned, we want to double our employer engagement or nominations for VTOP employers and intern day. We will increase and ensure that many of our employers understand the importance of mentoring. So we will engage our employers in their mentorship training. We will develop and launch use of a career champions, which will actually allow for faculty and staff to understand the importance of internships and work-based learning experiences and able to talk to students about that outside of the Career Services Office. We will allocate over $4 million in grants and resources to internships and work-based learning experiences to help offset costs and to help support institutions in engaging students in internship opportunities. The work that we're doing, we know that we have to continue to do this work, and we believe that it's important to evaluate the work that we're doing. So we have procured a contract through the Metropolitan Educational Research Consortium, where they're evaluating the effectiveness of what we're doing, and they're also informing us of any of the gaps that we have missed, that we want to make sure that we are filling in those gaps as we continue to remove some of the barriers to internship and work-based learning. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bazemore. I just have a quick question. Among the employers that we have identified for these internship opportunities, are any of our state agencies participating as employers?
Yes, and that's with the COVA internship partnership that we are doing. Okay. Yeah, we want to ensure that state agencies understand the importance of it, so we facilitate workshops on how to recruit and engage students in internships, and then also to talk about some of the best practices that they should facilitate while they're hosting an intern, such as like mentorship, networking, reflection opportunities for students, and skills development. Yes, thank you.
Any other questions from committee? Okay. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Bazemore. That was very, very helpful information.
Thank you.
I believe that is the conclusion of our presentations, and we are free to hobnob with each of you. So